30, headed to the near sideline, one man to beat, makes the move at midfield, coming to the near side at the 30, he's at the 20, he's at the 10, 5, touchdown, Kentucky!
Welcome into another episode of Believe in Kentucky. I'm Ms. Vinny Hardy. We've got Aaron Gershon from the Cat's Paws, the man who kept it on the keeper, one man to beat, Jalen Whitlow from UKQB in here. Fellas, we are in the summer, but it's not completely dead yet when you get to that nothing happening period, because we got postseason baseball for us in Lexington. Kentucky Proud Park is a place to be, hosting the Oregon State Beavers, AG.
Yeah, man, it's a great matchup. It's going to be a lot of fun this weekend. As we were talking a little bit before we started here, the fans got gypped with the Saturday 9:00 game. I mean, that's just, TV trying to spread out the ratings between the East and West Coast. But that's a tough draw for the fans here locally. I'm sure they'll have a great crowd to start at least. And, if the game can't miss on your seats close, they'll stay all the way through and keep it a late night. But as we kind of saw last Sunday when Kentucky kind of pulled ahead and were in control of that regional game, the crowd started to thin a little bit. So that part of it is a bummer. But other than that, I think your fans are going to be treated to some really good baseball from both teams. I mean, Oregon State is probably a little bit underseeded. You're going to see a guy in Travis Bazana. I'll have his name by the end of the weekend, but I believe it's Bazana, who is projected to go 1-1 in the upcoming MLB draft, first overall. Guys on base almost 60% of the time, and can just do it all on the baseball field. Hits for average, 28 home runs, you name it. Really exciting player, and they got some other studs in the lineup and two really good pitchers. And then obviously with Kentucky, I think they played excellent in that regional. They never trailed, which is really impressive. I know it got dicey the first game against Western Michigan when some of the pitching got tested, but both Trey Poozer and Mason Moore pitched wonderfully, and the bats, for the most part, had a really good weekend. So this is definitely a big step up in competition. Oregon State's a really good team and a really great program, but I think it'll be I'd be shocked if it's not a 3-game just war between these two teams. I think we're in for a treat this weekend.
And they have won the College World Series 3 times in this century since the year 2000. So that's a heavy hitter, man, for sure. Yeah. And most recently in 2018, when of course Adley Rutschman was leading that team, the Arkansas foul ball that wasn't caught for SEC fans, if you remember that one, that it wouldn't have happened if it weren't for that. But Oregon State rallied and won it. And, they have a coach who's in his, his coach is slipping me, the one who won all 3 of those College World Series, retired after the 2020 season or before the 2020 season. So they have a coach who's in his 5th year, and he's taking them to the tournament each year. He's been there. They haven't broken through to get back to Omaha, so they're looking to do that this year. And again, they have 2 elite frontline starters. One of them, who is probably going to pitch on Friday, Aiden May, is a projected 3rd-round pick. And they have 2 relievers who are nasty. A guy in Bridger Holmes who throws sidearm. Sometimes he changes his arm slot. If you're an MLB fan, similarly, but from the right side, like Nestor Cortez, where you just don't know what arm slot's going to come. And he's a guy who's projected to be a draft pick in the top 150 picks. So they're a really, really good baseball team, but obviously, Kentucky is too. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think if you're a baseball fan, even if you're not like a diehard UK baseball, like not huge into college baseball, you're quote unquote bandwagoning this tournament run, like this, if you love baseball, this is going to be a great series because these are 2 really good teams that play the game at a high level. And Oregon State, Mitch Barnhart was there.
Yeah, that's right. 98 to UK's first year was 02, so I'll say 98 to 02 off the top of my head.
And I didn't know, people just said Rich Brooks was there. I knew he was at Oregon. I didn't know he was at Oregon State as well. I'm old enough to remember, Ocho Cinco and T.J. Hushmanzada
together. Yep.
Bengals fans, of course, would definitely remember them. And, the glove, Gary Payton went to Oregon State.
Right.
Of course, everybody remember what he did with the Sonics, if you're, NBA fan. So
Brandon Cooks.
Yeah, yeah. So quietly, they have also been doing their thing in baseball, even though we really haven't been paying attention to that as probably not as much, but we'll get a dose of them this weekend.
Yeah, you look at Oregon State's alumni in the major leagues. It's a pretty darn good list. That's why, obviously, like I mentioned there, Adley Rutschman, but Stephen Kwan, outfielder for the Guardians, who have an amazing season right now. Michael Conforto was with the Mets for a long time, with the Giants now, part of that Mets team that went to the World Series in 2015 rather. They produce a lot of talent up there in Corvallis, and like I said, they're going to have pick number 1-1 in this upcoming draft, more likely than not, in Travis Bazana, who's going to be playing right here in Lexington this weekend. If that's not a reason enough to want to show up and support Kentucky, let alone if you're more just an MLB fan, come watch the guy who knows, if he falls to the number 2 pick, it could be a Cincinnati Red for all the local fans here. So it's going to be, I think it's, like I said, I'd be surprised if it's not a 3-game set, and I think it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun.
I tried to get a little Oregon State perspective. I reached out to I thought was a beat writer, but he does cover them, but he emailed back, but he just does the football and basketball. So I was like, man, but just to get that what it's like out there, the Civil War with Oregon, and just kind of stuff, because I've never been to Oregon, and don't know a whole lot about it, but maybe next time. But Aaron, you already put down all their stats, as you always do. Everybody listening to this podcast knows AG's got everybody's stats. He already cranked out Oregon State stuff, and already hit the famous alums for MLB, and predicting the 3-game series this weekend. Going to be some Monday baseball to see who goes to Omaha.
So. I'd be pretty surprised. I don't think either team wants it to get there, because Kentucky would probably have to start Dominic Nyman, who's been, he pitched well for 4 innings against Western Michigan, probably ran out of gas, but he was just, he really struggled the second half of the season. And then, Eric Segura, who's the number 3 starter for Oregon State's been up and down as well. He's just a freshman. So I'm sure both teams want to keep it to 2 games with them winning both, obviously. But I just think these 2 teams are so pretty evenly matched. Obviously, Kentucky's going to have the edge playing at home. It's college baseball. Home field advantage is so massive compared to some other sports. But I just think these 2 teams are very, very close from a talent / capability, how they match up standpoint. That I think it's going to go 3 games. And the times help Oregon State. Like, that's not a sour grapes thing. I mean, the fact that, they have to come from the West Coast and adjust to East Coast time, that's not easy. You see, pro athletes have to do it all the time. Big Ten athletes are going to have to do it. ACC athletes are going to have to do it. But
that's right.
But the fact that this, the times are 6 o'clock, it'll be 3 o'clock Oregon State time, 9 o'clock, 6, those that helps. So we'll see if there is a game 3. That one's still TBD. Maybe that one will favor the Cats, but I think Oregon State caught a little bit of a break there. I mean, if they played, I don't think they would ever play a noon game. With all that said, I think that would have been too unfair the other way. But if they played a 3 o'clock game and Oregon State's going to play a nooner their time,
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, like, it's all over the place. Kentucky's on the late night extreme. I think Tennessee plays at 11 when AM for their games. But
I think that was it's Evansville. That's why. No offense to Evansville. I lived in Evansville for a year and a half when I was working over there, and loved the town. Cool little campus there. Obviously, their basketball team, we all know, came in and won here a couple of years ago. But it's all about TV ratings and money. And as good as Tennessee is, and fans should go and watch that Tennessee team because they're really good, no one's really expecting close ball games in Knoxville this weekend.
Yeah. Would East Carolina been a little better matchup for them?
A little bit, but I think Wake Forest was the one, right, where would have got the Chase Burns little storyline there. But I think Wake actually went 2 and done. And then Evansville was the team that was in the driver's seat that whole regional. Got to a game 7, but Evansville was able to hold on. Really cool story again, and I'm happy. I know some of the I covered some of the players who are now on that team for Evansville, including their center fielder when I was in high school or covering prep sports in the Evansville area. So I got a lot of respect for him, but it's not a series that's going to be getting the TV ratings going, and that's why they're starting at 11 a.m.
So the bracket opened up for them as if they needed it.
Yeah, and look, they're the number 1 overall seed. It should, but the fact they get the 4 in the 16 region is let's just say if the Vols don't take care of business, they're going to be hearing about
it. Yeah. So the chances of Notre Dame 2.0.
That's Yeah, that was already. That one was. I mean, look, that was a stunner in its own right. But I think Tennessee that year, the pressure was pretty hefty, right? That team was being touted maybe the best college baseball team ever with some of the talent they had, and I think it just crept up on them. Where this year, I mean, now there's going to be some pressure. Like everyone expects you to kill Evansville, and basically I'm sure Tennessee fans have already purchased their hotel rooms and pre-ordered or like prepaid and non-refundable hotels in Omaha to save some money there. But there's going to be pressure, but it's not the same as it was that year.
Yeah. Yep. Well, it's just it's just cool that we know Kentucky was in this position last year, but you're in Baton Rouge playing the eventual champ, and we talked about Paul Skeens. He's out there mowing down the Dodgers today. I mean, Freddie Freeman
blowing smoke by Shohei.
Yeah. So that's who Kentucky was going up against last year. So, the the odds were, just the deck was stacked.
Yeah, it was never going to happen.
So you got guys that have been to Baton Rouge for a super regional. Now you're home. The fact that you're in a super regional isn't, overwhelming now because you just did it last year. And so, hey,
I think it was really telling after the game, and I noticed it right away, and I'm glad Ming Gion brought it up before anyone even got the chance to ask, but they didn't even dogpile. There was a expectation, this is just regionals now, right? Where, last year was only the 3rd time they'd ever done it in school history. It had been 6 years. Obviously, the program was on some really hard times before then. They celebrated the heck out of that thing. They probably knew what was coming in Baton Rouge, whether they wanted to admit it or not. But this year it's different, right? Like you said, they have home field. They're the number 2 overall seed. They expected to be here from probably the last pitch in Baton Rouge last year. The mindset was we're going to remember this and we're going to control our own destiny next year. And they've done it. So, there's a lot, again, home field is big in college baseball. I know a couple regionals, obviously the home team lost, Arkansas being one of them, but for the most part, chalk held throughout this tournament. And that's because it's really hard to win on the road when college stadiums that are already not that big, they're a little more compact and the noise is real. It makes a big difference. And BBN's going to show up and show out all weekend. And that's where it'll help Kentucky. But I just think this Oregon State team is we were talking a lot how Indiana State was a tough draw, and I think Kentucky caught a big break. And not that I think Kentucky would have got through the region. I thought they'd win it no matter what. But I think they caught a big break that Illinois won that second game and pushed Indiana State into that loser's bracket where they had to use more pitching than they would have otherwise. And Kentucky avoided facing one of the aces from Indiana State. They had 2 guys who were elite pitchers who they missed. So, they caught a break in that aspect of things. But this Oregon State series, it's a best of 3. They're not catching any breaks. Oregon State's going to have to come with all they've got from game 1 from Jump Street. So, I just think this is going to be a lot of fun. I think, Kentucky is kind of aspiring to be what Oregon State has been the last 20 years. And Nick Mingjoen was asked about that. I thought he had a really good answer, which is we respect their history, but Michael Conforto is not walking through that door, just like for us, Evan White's not walking through that door. So, you put all that aside, but that is the truth of the matter is that Kentucky is aspiring to be a program like Oregon State, and it would be a big thing to go beat them on their way to becoming that.
And we talked about Indiana State was in the regional, that was that could be tough. That could be tough. And they up and lost, which, I don't, like you said, a lot of people didn't expect that. And they caught a break. And that kind of stuff happens. So
yeah.
You know, and there's still, and maybe rightfully so, because Kentucky's still new to this in baseball. This is, first time they've ever made super regionals back to back. First time they've ever won 40 games in consecutive years.
Yeah.
There's still, to me, this prevailing thought that it's still just Kentucky. They're still, to me, having to prove it to a lot of the experts, to a lot of the national analysts. I watched the SEC Network guys, and they're kind of okay coming around. They're still like they're a tinge of uncertainties. Can we really trust them? Are they really good?
Yeah.
And so, if I'm Kentucky, had that chip on your shoulder,
absolutely,
because you're not getting that same respect as the big boys at the table yet. They haven't put you there yet.
Yep. No doubt about it. And I get the discourse, honestly, because they're not your prototypical dominant team, right? Mm-hmm. Like they just don't have. You think of Tennessee, just using them as an example because they're the number one overall seed and the success they've had in recent years, and draft pick after draft pick after draft pick in those lineups, and a lot of them are already playing in the show. Like that 22 team we were talking about had Jordan Beck in the middle of it. He's already up in the big leagues with the Rockies. Trey Lipscomb's already been in the big leagues with the Nats. Drew Gilbert's the number one of the top prospects in all of baseball. Like that team was loaded with future pros, and the pitching staff too, with Chase Nolander, Chase Burns. I mean, just loaded. Where Kentucky, they have Ryan Waldschmidt, who's going to be a late first round or second rounder. They have Emilian Pitre, who maybe will go in the first 4 to 5 rounds. And then that might be like they'll have other draft picks, but no one early. So at least this upcoming year. So they don't, where Oregon State, I can go through their roster and they have 4 guys who are going to be in the first 3 rounds this year. So it's different from that aspect, but they have a solid nucleus of players that, one, like you said, Vinny, earlier, a lot of them were on this team last year and knows what it takes and got that taste of defeat and are extremely motivated to get it done. And just players who are really good at what they're doing right now. They may not be the guys who we go and watch in the show, but they're guys who can really play college baseball and play it at a high level. So I think that's what makes this team kind of fun. It's like the anti of what we've seen with the basketball program, where you have all these NBA guys and it's not necessarily resulting in championships, where this baseball team has just a couple pros, really just one elite pro level prospect and Ryan Waldschmidt. And then, after that, there's a drop off, but they're just so solid and play together. And that's what makes it fun. I think that's what this fan base really kind of has gravitated towards. Not only, obviously the winning is why they gravitate first, but I think they really have embraced this team, and they've worn the funky pink hats in the crowd because they're blue collar. They're not in your face. They're not, I'm using this place as a stepping stone. They really do care about this place, and they're doing some really good things that no one expected them to do.
Yeah, one of those teams that fans and coaches always appreciate. It's always more fun when you don't necessarily have, the lottery pick guys or the 5-star guys, and you can still be successful. Yeah. Coaches will never admit it, but they get the most gratitude out of those years. They feel like, that they're helping those players, and the coaches feel like they're doing a good coaching job. Mm-hmm. When you got players that that another team is better than you on a roster, if you were to just on paper, go by paper or whatnot, but you consistently win. And that's, in my opinion, man, that's what amateur sports or lower level sports is all about. Once you get to the pros, everybody's a pro, and whatnot. But in college, high school, and whatnot, man, it's always about, what can you do with what you have? Can you make what you have successful? That's how we judge programs. That's how we judge coaches. When it comes to, eliminate the Kentuckys of the world in basketball, eliminate the Alabamas and Georgias of the world in football, and everybody else reap a very hefty reward when they feel like they've been successful with teams that aren't necessarily, blue chip type teams, quote unquote. So I love to see it. I love watching baseball in person. I wish I could be there. I'm sure it's going to be a crazy environment. Probably the most rowdy environment that stadium has had so far. I mean, why wouldn't it be, right?
Sure.
So it'll be, sure some alcohol and some bloodstream.
Oh yeah,
on that night, and a lot of fun, I'm sure, man.
Absolutely. Coming to y'all live as always on Twitter and YouTube and Facebook. Appreciate the follows, and if you subscribe and keep up with us every week, Spotify, Stitcher Audio, you can catch every episode. Subscribe, it'll come right to your device. We got Athir back in the comments. Hadn't seen Athir in a while. Saying he missed us. Saying Jalen is here. Let's go. So we've been this. Oh, got Eddie in the comments talking about UK baseball. UK needs to pack KPP out. Standing room only. Picnic in the parking lot and watch.
Yeah. I think they will though, right?
They will. Yeah.
I mean, I remember going to a baseball game. And baseball team wasn't necessarily this good when I was there at Kentucky, but I mean. It was a regular season game, and it was packed, man. I mean, people enjoy, weekend baseball, especially at night. That's fun. Students used to go, back in the old stadium. Students would go sit. It was like they used to have this little, whatever they called it in the parking lot.
The cliff, right field,
the cliff. Yeah, they had the little, section going and whatnot, but. I'm sure it'll be fun, man. I'm sure this will be one of those weekends where the players will never forget.
I agree with that.
Regardless of the outcome.
Yeah. So there, say you got a question for you, Jalen. So just go ahead and type it in, and we'll put it up there, whatever it is. Last time we were here, we were awaiting and refreshing for Jackson Robinson.
That's right.
A lot of Kentucky fans been here before with Hamidou Diallo. Everybody stayed up all night when he was making his decision and scrolling and refresh.
Like Christmas.
And
literally.
And so what was it? We were on from 9 to 10 like we always are, and didn't happen while we were on, and midnight came and went that Thursday, and what was it? Thursday morning, 10 or 11, something like that.
Yes. Morning after the fact that, not only is we learned that Jackson Robinson did indeed withdraw from the draft, that he's committed to Kentucky, and then he was signed a day later. So obviously it worked out way better than anyone could have ever imagined, because look, I mean, maybe not, I shouldn't say anyone. I'm sure the Kentucky coaching staff had an idea of what was going on, and they did a good job keeping it under wraps. But I think that I thought there would be a recruitment at least. I've said on this show for the past month, I feel like Kentucky's the team to beat, but don't sleep on the fact Kansas is in it. And especially now, they probably would have been in it now that, they lose one of their players for the season in Jackson there. They did get a commit from the guy Kentucky fans would be familiar with, and Shaquille Moore, a transfer from Mississippi State. But, I thought Kansas would be in it. I thought BYU with Kevin Young would have a chance to make their case. But now he had made up his mind that he was coming to Kentucky. And so really, really cool, really big time get for them. I think I would avoid putting the label on him as hey, he needs to be the guy that can get every bucket when they need it. But I do think he's a guy who can trust as the number one option, a guy where when things are going downhill, that he's a guy you can trust to put the ball in his hands, and just a guy who's got a lot of experience to him. I mean, he's going to be a fifth-year guy. He's been, he's the number one option at BYU last year, played in the Big 12, obviously. I know he didn't play much at Arkansas and A&M, but he does have that SEC experience. So this was obviously a really important kind of final piece to the puzzle. I mean, they still have a scholarship to use, but really important kind of final big time puzzle piece for this roster. And I think it does raise the ceiling a little bit.
Like I said, I wasn't sweating it if it didn't happen, but it did. And that's just extra icing on the squad they already put together in such a short amount of time. 6'7", 190, wing scorer, the quote-unquote bucket getter where you just need a guy that can get you two. He's that guy. And I'm still not saying that some other guys could probably develop into that we might not even be anticipating. That Owe dude that's coming from Oklahoma is an athletic
I think he's
guy.
an underrated one.
And so I think you got some more that could blossom, but then you already got him that's kind of already bona fide. He scored about 14 a game as a sixth man of the year last year for BYU. And it was I think 6 minutes in the Big 12. So now if he's your number one option or whatever, but all the chips will fall where they may with the competition and the playing time and the roles getting defined. But like you said, everybody was hoping for Lanier. Can't be mad. He's from Tennessee. He picked Tennessee. He worked out well with Jackson Robinson, man.
You got the more established, you can debate it all you want, but you did get the guy who has the longer track record at this point in their career. So, and a guy obviously won't have to learn a system. He's been in it for 2 years. This will be year 3. So, this was a good one, big one.
Exactly. So he's knows Pope, and Pope was there with him at the pre-draft workout stuff in Chicago. Right. They were corresponding and touching base in it. I wasn't letting myself maybe think that, but I was like, man, they still seem pretty tight. I don't know. Maybe he's still gonna stay in the draft. Maybe he still goes to Kansas. But I'm like, man, they touching base a lot with all this. But so it worked out great. Yeah,
it couldn't have worked out better the way it ended up. So, And then we'll see. I don't know if they're gonna fill that last spot, if they're gonna wait and use for a reclass guy like Will Riley, or are they gonna just hold on to it and kind of like if a Big Z situation presents itself, something like that. Ugana and Yenso the last 2 years, they've under Cal, they've had that pop up. Maybe that happens with Pope here in year 1, or they just sit on it and have 12 guys. But either way, they're in good shape.
For sure. And we were going to move to some football as well. And I've got a question in the comments for Jalen. Back there was, having questions for Jalen and wishing Jalen was on, and just kind of been holding these questions in the chamber for Jalen. So says that he's a Michigan fan in football, but loves Kentucky and supports them. The question is, can Kentucky finish in the top 3 in the SEC and make the playoff, Jalen?
Yeah, they can. But that's gonna be that's tough. We're gonna have to have a great year for that. And I say that because look, the reality of the situation is in SEC football, there's always a possibility of they can do it. But you have to Kentucky has to stay healthy and withstand the gauntlet in the schedule. And we all know what that is. And I think the biggest thing, man, is on offense. I think the defense is always going to be solid enough. Now, will they have that? What year was that where the defense was like balling, lights out? Recently,
2022, they were pretty lights out.
It was the year before 22 was great. It was the year before
21. They had 21.
No, they had the year where they had
the first 10-3 year. You talking about with Josh Allen, Mike Edwards, and all those guys?
Well, they had the kid at that's it, Jaguars now.
Josh Allen, 2018.
Yeah, Josh Allen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mike Edwards and all those
guys. What I mean by that is getting pressure on the quarterback, creating a lot of negative plays, a lot of turnovers, and the offense being more explosive. Anything is possible, in my opinion, because I think Brad White and Mark Stoops on defense is always going to have it pretty solid on that side of the ball. I think they have to put the offensive part together to make this thing go the way they want it to go. I think it's doable, though. I know some people who really know this quarterback thing, and they know Brock Vandagriff, and they really think that he's like that. He's going to be the next big-time quarterback in Kentucky that gets drafted high and all of that stuff, which he very well can be. And we need to see that come to fruition. So, yes, I think they can. But as we all know, it's going to take, staying healthy, it all coming together to get that done because, just the truth of the matter is you got programs like LSU, Georgia, who just, the depth on those teams are really good. So we got to stay healthy. And we just got, just play good, solid football, man, and take it 1 week at a time. And we'll see what happens. I would love to see that happen. I'm sure everybody would love to see that happen. And we'll see. I'm just excited for it, man. I'm not going to put any expectations on football season this year. I think they could be a really good team. I think this could be the best receiving corps that they've had since I've been watching Kentucky football. We think that the quarterback can be pretty good. We think that the offense can be pretty good. They're actually moving faster. Now that's what everybody want to see. You're going to get fans that, you're going to get butts and seats. But I'm not going to put any expectations on it. I think when you start putting expectations on things, you start being dissatisfied even when things aren't clicking yet. So even though they may, but I'm not going to put any expectations on it. We just want to see good football and see them continue to get better as that schedule builds. And maybe, in November, they're sitting in a really good spot, and we can really watch some good postseason football. So appreciate the question, though, man.
Yeah. Josh,
Michigan fan, I don't know about that, but appreciate the question.
Yeah, I don't know if Josh saying that Tennessee at Ole Miss at Texas is rough, and he also said that 2018 was the year you're referring to.
Yeah. At Ole Miss thing is tough. I think Ole Miss is probably the second most talented SEC football team this year.
And had them beat the last time we were down there too.
Yep.
Them beat. Josh also asked, will any of y'all be at the event for Club Blue? Was it June?
Not the one in Ashland. No.
And speaking of Club Blue, we just had
the basketball one.
Yeah, that's the 15th.
I will see what the media deal is, and also if the baseball team's in Omaha, I'll be in Omaha. So we'll see.
Right. And for y'all that missed it, we had Brad Bolton of Club Blue on a couple episodes ago. So y'all go back and listen to that wherever you listen to podcasts, or go to our YouTube channel, Believe in Kentucky podcast, and you can watch. She answered a lot of the questions and talked about Club Blue and the NIL side of things and a lot of good stuff. Fear, I got a question for you, Aaron. If Coach Pope will win a national championship in his first season, will he get an extension for another 4 years? He'll get whatever you want if he wins a championship.
If he does it in his first year, he'll get an extension of some sort for sure. But that might be pushing the envelope a little bit. So we'll give him a little bit of a chance here.
Yeah, he was also making fun of you for wearing a New Jersey shirt a couple comments ago too.
I'm from the Northeast.
That's it.
Yeah, my cousins grew up playing for the Devils youth team, so I kind of became a Devils fan through that. I'm very casual with hockey. Love playoff hockey. I've been watching throughout the postseason, but that's where that was from.
Your home state school was also in the Super Regionals too.
That's right. UConn is in the Super. Yeah, they've got
Oklahoma, boy.
Yeah, they've got a really good baseball. I mean, George Springer is the first name that comes to mind there, but Michael back in the day played for the Cubs for a little bit. They've always had a pretty good baseball team. It's hard to do up there in the north where it's so cold and you got to play on the road for like a month to start the year, but they get it done up there in Stores.
Yeah, I did not know that, and until I saw that, I was like, whoa! And they were down there just handling Oklahoma at Norman. So I was like, man, so I didn't know your squad did it like that in baseball. Your home state. Yeah,
they get it done. They get it done on the diamond. They are. They have a very good program. I think they were in supers. At least I think they won a regional about 2 years ago now. I think they went to Maryland and won a regional pretty recently. So, they are one step away from Omaha. I forget where they have to go, but we'll see if they can get that done.
Yeah.
I got a question for y'all, man. Who wins the NBA Finals?
I think Boston, unfortunately. The thing is, like, Dallas drives me crazy because I love Luka Doncic. I think his game's absolutely electric. obviously have a lot of respect and love for PJ Washington, having covered him here. But I will never be a Kyrie Irving guy. He just crossed the line with, I'm not going to get into that whole spiel, but some of the anti-Semitism, all that stuff, I can't take it with Mr. Irving. But I also am a Knicks fan and can't stand the Boston Celtics. So I'm hoping, I guess I'm rooting for Dallas because I just don't want to see Boston get another one. But I think Boston's too powerful. They're getting Porzingis back. Porzingis is a team he got traded by in Dallas to Washington, thrown in that mess that is the Wizards. So I think Boston's got too much, and they got the home court. So
I don't like either team either.
That's right. You're a Rockets fan, so you don't like Dallas. That's for sure.
And it was, as a kid, it was Celtics Lakers every year, Bird Magic every year. So you know the way people got Patriots fatigue when the New England was in the Super Bowl every year and tired of the Patriots, so that's the way I was with Lakers Celtics. Respected them because they were both great.
Sure,
it was a great series, but I just like, man, they both. I'm just tired of both of them. So, and being a Rockets fan, and it'd be so much worse if I lived in Texas. You know what I mean? Because as much as I love the Cowboys, that's how much I dislike the Mavericks. And it's just, Cuban is annoying. The only time I pull for the Mavericks is when they beat LeBron and them in the finals for the first time. When LeBron and them went not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, all the championships they were going to win. Then they get to the finals and the Mavs beat them. I was like, that kind of serves y'all right. That's the only time I pulled for the Mavs. But after that, I went back to disliking them. Jason Terry get on my nerves. Of course, he was on the Arizona team that beat Kentucky in the '97 championship. So I ain't like him for that. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna say Mavs in 6. I think they're gonna pull the upset. Like Aaron said, Luka's a bad boy. He whines a lot. Every time you look up, he's like griping about why he didn't get a call.
We can say that about 100
But that, Kyrie's a bad man. They got the best two. You're picking the guys off of both teams. You're picking them first before you get to Tatum and Brown and all that. They trade PJ, who's probably like, thank God I'm out of Charlotte now. And he's going to his hometown. He's from Dallas, and now he's in the finals for his hometown team. Man, that's got to mean something. Traded him for old flopping. Speaking of flopping, Grant Williams is who they traded him for Tennessee.
Yeah, they sure did. They sure did.
But I'm rambling. But I should try to be objective, but I'm going with my emotions and hoping the Mavs. The lesser of the two evils, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'll be rooting for the Mavs, but I do think it'll be Boston at the end of the day. But I will be rooting for Dallas.
And you got Porzingis, like you said, play for Dallas. Kyrie play for Boston, so you got that whole.
Yeah, there's some storylines in this series, for sure.
Yeah,
especially the Kyrie Boston stuff was pretty. It was a nasty breakup there too. So,
Mazzulla as a coach, though, I don't. I think he's in over his head on stuff at times.
Yeah,
and Kid might just get the better of him in the coaching aspect too.
That's wild because Kid is a guy who's been fired twice. Has had his trials and tribulations too, and I'm not talking twice, like twice in the last 6-7 years here. So
from Milwaukee and where else?
Brooklyn.
Oh, that's
right. Yeah, where he's a franchise legend. So maybe, a top 3 player to ever put on the net uniform. So it's going to be interesting, to say the least.
TV froze on us.
I think you did freeze on us, but who do you have? Answer your own question.
Or to say games left.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah. Froze on us for a minute.
Oh, you're good.
Hey, but I got Dallas, man. I got Dallas.
I'm wrong.
I got Dallas in 7. I think Luka and Kyrie, man, are right now they just playing at a level that I don't know how you beat them. PJ Washington is being, playing pretty efficient in his role. And I just think they got the swag right now, man. I think like you said, it's hard to stop, Luka and Kyrie in the backcourt. They can both give you 30, can both give you double-digit assists. I've never been a believer in Jason Tatum on this level. Now he's a great player. I feel the same way about Kevin Durant. I just don't see them like that. Finals MVP type guys. Closers on that level. I just don't see them like that. And I say that they probably gonna win it, but I just don't think that he's on that level of Kyrie and whatnot when it comes to these type of games, these type of series. I think Luka's gonna do what he do, but I think Kyrie is a extremely deadly closer, man. He just gets it done when it matters.
Yeah.
And they got shooters. I mean, I don't know. I just think they got the juice right now, and I don't believe in this Celtics team like a lot of people do. I think they're great, but I'm talking like finishers, closers, game 6, game 7. I just don't think they're that type of team right now. And if they're not right now, then when would they be? I don't know, but we'll see. I like Dallas. I like the way Dallas play, and I just think Dallas is the better team at the moment in big games.
And this run for Boston, they've been at it a while. It's getting to window closing time. If I've already been to the finals a couple of years ago, lost to the Warriors. Been to the conference finals 7 years in a row. Tatum and Brown been the two, that they hitched their wagon to for a while. But getting back to Luka, he's big, he's strong, and for a guy to maybe not be as quick or as fast as you think, look at how many times he gets around his primary defender and gets in the paint. And the guy guarding him is behind him or to the side, and he can break check him if he wants to, or go on into the paint or pass when he draws the defense or whatever. But to be not that quick, he gets by that first guy a ton. It's hard to keep him in front of you as a defender. And the step back and all that, but him maneuvering, I think, is underrated.
Yeah,
no doubt.
He crafty like that. I guess crafty is maybe the word, but
he's crafty. He's savvy.
He look at it.
He's really good at getting body position.
Yeah,
he's really good at getting that hip and that shoulder past you.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, he's just that's just his game, man. He's really good at drawing fouls. He can shoot from anywhere. He's also huge. He's a big dude. Mm-hmm. Not only is he listed at 6'8", but not only is he 6'8", he's like if he played football, he would be a left tackle. He's a big dude. Like if he didn't play basketball every day, he's huge. So that's hard to stop. And he see the floor extremely well. Anybody who's 6'8", who can see the floor extremely well, who can give you 30+ in double-digit assists, Lucas, the LeBrons of the world, good luck. There's nothing you can do. You just hope he has a bad game. You just hope he's not hitting every shot. That's the only thing you can do is hope, because there's nothing else you can do. Nobody on the planet can stop those type of guys. Nobody on the planet has ever been able to guard a guy who's 6'8" or taller, who can score and who can see the floor. Those guys are what we call the greatest ever, the GOATs. Mm-hmm. Like I said, when you couple that with arguably the most skilled basketball player to ever grace the planet in Kyrie Irving, good luck.
And that's what Drew Holiday, an elite defender, they asked him at the media session, what do you do when you guard Kyrie? And he said, pray. And if Holiday is saying you got to pray, as good of a defender as he is when it comes to Kyrie, that tells you A lot.
They are just great finishers, man. Like that's why I believe in them. You know, not even just finishers of series and games, but when they get to the rim, Kyrie is the best at finding a way to get the ball in the hoop. I don't know how he does it. I was in the gym today just doing this, trying to get the ball to spin off the backboard. I mean, and it's tough to make 10 consistently with nobody guarding me. And I played basketball growing up all my life. But he's just on a whole nother level with both hands. He can finish. He had a game winner over Joker with his left hand. I mean, that type of stuff, man, it's just like they said, I think it was LeBron saying this. He was saying that when Kyrie has the ball, and if he don't feel like he's hitting that game with his right hand, he'll shoot it with his left. He'll just start shooting with his left hand like it's nothing. Like he does. I mean, that's what he. So, like I said, couple that with a guy like Luka, who's 6'8", handling the ball, who can score 30, give you double-digit assists, double-digit rebounds. He's just triple-double. Machine. You know, like I said, I just it's just hard pressed for me to see them lose. Like I said, now Boston's good, but I don't know. I think we're watching arguably, top 3 best, backcourts ever.
I can't disagree with you.
I mean, like if you really, as far as finishing games and just for skill, who else is? I mean, Jordan Pippen. Okay. I'm trying to think who else. Like, I mean, when they are playing well, it's impossible to beat them. Like, I mean,
Jordan Pippen. Who else you got? Who else you got?
I don't know. As far as skill, now there's been guys.
Stephen Clay in there, or what? Where you going?
Skill, skill. I don't know about that. Probably LeBron and Wade.
LeBron and Wade, that's hard to beat. Yeah, you're right.
And old school, y'all was too young, but Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars with the Pistons.
There you go.
They were. Yeah, that was a little bit before my time, so I didn't really get a chance to. And look, to be fair, I always make sure I talk about or rank or judge people that I've watched.
Yeah,
there you go.
So, I'm sure Isaiah Thomas I heard a lot about him, from people that I know, and obviously growing up watching sports on ESPN and whatnot, I'm sure they were great. But just me, it's hard to beat like when the Warriors had KD as well. I mean, KD. I mean, come on, man. Like that's 3 guys that. But I just think when it comes to just 2 guys that can just, are the best in the world when they are on, hands down. It's just hard to beat. Hard to beat that.
And with Kyrie, man, it's like you said, the degree of difficulty to those finishes. Because what is he? 6'1", 6'2"? How tall? He's not that tall.
I think he listed at like 6'2" or 6'2". I think.
Okay, going in there in the paint, getting to the rim, and you don't even doubt that it's going in. It's going to be some English, high off the glass. It's going to be a double pump. He's going to take contact. It's going to be an and one. And it's going to be a bucket. It's like you're almost surprised that he misses. Oh, I know it's extremely difficult, but it's Kyrie we're talking about. That's where he's at, man. It's crazy. You just, type in his highlights, YouTube, all this. The only person, again, old school, Rod Strickland was real nice below the rim as far as finishing. And he was, with the Spurs and the Wizards, something, maybe the Knicks too. But, Kyrie it's so naturally easy with it to make it look effortless. It's crazy.
You know who I think can be a little bit more athletic and explosive Kyrie type player? He's not as skilled right now as Kyrie, obviously, but was the kid that played for Kentucky this past season.
Rob Dillingham, yep.
No,
That's the comp again. That's the comp again.
Yeah, I was watching some film I saw on Twitter. I'm like, man, you get caught up into wanting Kentucky to beat. That's why I said it's important to not put expectations on things.
Yep.
Because when I watch Kentucky during the regular season, sometimes you get jaded by the fact that they're all 5-star or whatever, and they're supposed to be winning every game. And you don't even see the greatness that's on the court. But when I go back and watch him now, I mean, he was head and shoulders the best player on the court.
Not close.
I mean, it's not. He can be like a what's his name, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He can be like that type of player in the league in his first couple of years. I really believe that he's that good. If he continue to put it all together and learn the NBA game and whatnot, continue to get bigger and stronger, get his body stronger because you're dealing with a different level of athlete in the league. But hey, we'll see, man.
And if, like you said, you look at Kentucky wanting to win every game, a lot of the games that Kentucky lost, it was kind of wasting Dillingham's good games. You look at that Tennessee game at Rupp, he had 30 or 40, and Tennessee led the whole game and went wire to wire. And he's like, man, this dude, this performance, nobody will remember because Kentucky lost. But just look at what he did for what it was. They would have lost by 30 if it wasn't for him.
No doubt.
Doing what he was doing that night. But like you said, a lot of those tough finishes going in there and through contact and stuff. Yeah, you're right. That's Kyrie is.
Yeah, and not only that, but he's taller than Kyrie, and he's a better athlete. He jumps higher. He runs faster. Mm-hmm. He has a little bit. When he's moving, he reminds me of like a De'Aaron Fox sometimes when he's on fast break with the ball. He's fast. He's just a good athlete. And like I said, he's taller. He's more explosive than what Kyrie is. But Kyrie is obviously the best or arguably the best, when it comes to ball handling and whatnot. Yeah. I don't think, now he's young, so he's not necessarily on that level of skill yet. But maybe he'll get there one day. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. KG and Pierce, but that's not backcourt because KG was like a power forward.
Yep.
Josh Knight says hard for me to like Kyrie with his Brooklyn stuff and then playing for Duke. Yeah, that's
more the Brooklyn stuff, but yeah.
So yeah. Oh, and we talked a little bit about Kentucky's schedule, but we talked before we recorded, and a lot of the college football types, Brett McMurphy types, and everybody tweeted out the new college football playoff schedule. And I know y'all had thoughts on just the layout of how it was. And if I had been thinking, I would have tried to save it so I could flash it up and share it on screen.
Yeah.
I got to figure that out on StreamYard. But y'all, that's coming in future episodes when I can try to tinker around and because it's not as easy as Zoom, I'll tell you that, or else I would be able to do it.
So, I love it. Obviously, like Jalen was saying before the show, and what we've all anticipated, the first round, I think it is, will be on campuses, and that's so cool. I mean, we spent the first half of the show talking about how big of an advantage it is for Kentucky baseball to be playing, the super regional at home. Now you're bringing a football crowd. Like, that's a big deal. You could be talking. So I think how it is, and correct me if I'm wrong, is the first 4 teams get a bye, right? So, okay. So you could be talking a game in Tuscaloosa because they're probably going to fall in that range this year. A game in Eugene, Oregon, in that crowd, like a playoff game. That's special. That's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Game at the Big House, Michigan. So I think it's great for college football. I'm a big fan of it. Look, I wouldn't expand past the 12. I think there needed to be more than 4. My number was always 8. But since you're going to have this campus stuff, I'm on board with 12 and leaving it like this. I think this will be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit. You can't beat it. You can't beat it. I always think about little stuff like, okay, now what was some of these state championship games in certain states? What would they do now? Because Alabama rotates between Auburn and Alabama. In December, they play the state championship game. Now you could potentially have an Alabama home game in December. in the playoffs. So how would that work? But just looking from a college football standpoint, you just cannot beat that. As a student, as a player, as just a fan that goes to games, how can you beat a playoff game at home? That's just, I think I wasn't for necessarily the expansion of the playoff initially, but this was one of the reasons where I was like, okay, we could, this is one of the things that, people get granted, then let's do it, because like I said, it's just hard to beat. And then a lot of people benefit, man. You always got to think about businesses in the area.
No doubt.
Benefit. The university will obviously benefit. Not that some of these universities need more money, but they'll benefit. I'm sure the players will benefit in a lot of different ways. It's just hard to beat. I'm sure now coaches will have incentives in their contract now if you get a home playoff game.
Yep.
They'll have incentives. So there's just a lot of different things that comes into play. Hotels, restaurants, gas station. Everything. Like, people are happy about this.
Absolutely.
This is a big deal.
I agree.
Yeah, let's see. And the season ends January the 20th. The championship game.
Yeah,
Monday, January the 20th now. So,
because not only is there, the first round, it feeds into a quarterfinal first, and then finally a semifinal. So you got 4 straight weeks of playoff football ending with the championship game. So hard to beat that, man. I guess my only concern with it all is how it continues to, lessen bowl season. I think it'll be interesting. I'm not even going to go down the rabbit hole because I'm not informed on it enough yet, but this whole pay-for-play stuff that's going to be starting here, I wonder how that's going to affect bowl games and contracts, so to speak. Is it going to force guys to suit up and play those games because money's on the line? Who knows? But I am concerned it's going to be even worse for bowl season than it already has kind of trended. Kentucky's kind of been we've been very lucky covering Kentucky and then rooting for Kentucky for the fans out there that UK has had players that just want to suit up and play. But there's going to be less and less incentive if you miss that postseason, which I don't think any of us are expecting Kentucky to be a playoff team this year. I think they could be a team that's in a really good bowl game. I just don't think they're going to crack that top 12. But and that's the other aspect of it, though. You can kind of make the case that if all this breaks right, Kentucky can get in there. And that's another reason why it's great. You're going to be hearing it from Louisville fans. We just need to have this break right and we can get in. If, Louisville would have been, they were right on that cutting edge around the 12 line. So it's going to be, for those reasons, I'm really excited about it. The bowl season stuff was, I don't know how much this is going to really worsen it. I feel like it could, but at the end of the day, the more important thing is we get 4 weeks of playoff football on campuses, like Jalen was saying, all the economy factors with it, all that stuff is why it's great.
Can you imagine a Kentucky at Oregon playoff game?
Sure, Kentucky'd probably get smoked, but I'd be there and love every freaking second of it.
Just imagine,
it'd be awesome.
Alabama at Oregon, or Ohio State at Alabama playoff game.
So we'll just use this. Maybe later in the summer we'll pick our 12. I'm sure we will, like we do every year. But ESPN's top 12 right now, they have a whole 25, but the top 12 they've got going 12 from 1 are Penn State, Florida State, Michigan, Utah, Missouri, Alabama, Ole Miss, Notre Dame at 5. Then the top 4 with buys would be Oregon, Texas, Ohio State, and Georgia. So then you're talking, let's see, 12 at 5, Penn State going to Notre Dame, Florida State going to Ole Miss, Michigan going to Alabama, and then Utah going to Missouri, which is whatever. But still, you're talking about a possible Michigan at Alabama playoff game. Who wouldn't sign up for that? Who the hell wouldn't sign up for that? You'd be crazy.
I play college football in the wrong era, man.
Make money, have a better chance to make the playoff.
And going back to your point on the, and I see we got the schedule pulled up here.
Finally, I'm sorry I'm late, but I was tinkering.
You're fine.
You're good. But going back to your point on the bowl games, man, I think there's a few ways I think you can make the bowl games, I guess, mean something, right?
Money.
no doubt. And okay, if I'm a player and I have an NIL deal, if we want to start making money and be pros now, well, there's an incentive to playing in a bowl game financially, or there's you get docked for not playing if you're healthy. If you're now, you probably have to put some type of stipulation in there too, where if you're not a quote unquote projected first or second round pick or whatever, but there's ways to do it. I think they should make it more conference based, or have a separate tournament that's bowl games.
Yeah.
To where it's, from whatever ranking to 13 through whatever, have a separate tournament or have a separate, bracket that's bowl games, to where you may play one bowl game or you may play 2 or 3, Now, that's a lot, but however they want to do it, there's ways that they can. There's a lot of quote unquote smart people in these rooms that can come up with ways to make bowl games not lose their luster. Because I'm gonna be honest, in the past couple of years, I can count on one hand how many bowl games I've watched live. Now I'll go back and watch them, but live bowl games,
they've lost their luster. They ain't no doubt.
Exclude the playoffs. I can count on one hand how many times I watched them. So, I think you have to get rid of the Iowa versus Kentucky type games. You have to. Nobody wants to see that. I don't even want to see that. And I'm a football nerd. So, you got to find ways to make it more exciting.
No doubt.
Yep. And I'm the guy that I watch the regular season religiously every week. Non-conference, SEC, regular season, keep up with it. Just like grandma keeps up with soap operas. You watch it, you keep up with it, and then when you get to the bowl games, I just kind of check out a little bit. I'm just, and then I come back in for the semifinals and the playoff. I'm back locked in again, but all 42 bowl games, the Bahamas Bowl and the this and the that and the Poolin Weed Eater and the Poinsettia, and I just kind of zone out for that, and then I come back in when it's back to that's just and I'm like, you love football too, you might catch some, you home off work or something, and flip to it, and I'll watch a few plays of this, but not consuming it the way you do the regular season.
Right.
That's just me.
And they should have some of these bowl games at, where a school has to play, in the whatever bowl, a school has to play at whoever's the highest seed.
Yes.
At that home field. Give home field advantage. I think that adds an extra element when you're playing at a neutral site. The quote unquote home team and away team really don't get up for it. You play at a home field, and you got students back on campus. You got your parents. You got family, whatever. And the away team that's coming to your home stadium, most athletes like away games more anyway. They get up for away games because you got teams, saying your sister's and mama's name in the stands because they looking up your stuff on Google, and and it just gets you going. So there's like I said, there's ways to do it, man. They just gotta, people gotta stop being afraid to think outside the box, in my opinion, and be more radical when it comes to making some of these decisions when it comes to this type of stuff.
Makes sense. I think covered all kind of stuff. Covered UK being 2 games away from history. Already made history and got a chance to make more.
No doubt.
Got the Jackson Robinson talk since we weren't on when it finally happened. We talked the new schedule, and y'all just fixed the bowl game. So bowl season's fixed. All right, did a lot of stuff in this hour and change. So another fun episode. Appreciate everybody coming through in the comments. Subscribe, rate, review, leave a comment. Remember that we also got a little bit of merch. Go to shop.believe.com. I got my Cat Daddy shirt on right now. Got the Cat Daddies available in blue, white, or gray. Also get your Everett's to Eddyville shirt because we got Trent Noah and Travis Perry both coming into Kentucky as freshmen. Shop.beleav.com. Get yourselves some merch. And we'll jump on out of here and holler at everybody next time. If I don't know if Kentucky is Omaha bound, might be some emergency stuff we have to do when our schedules allow for that, because this will be some history in a good way. It won't be like losing to Vanderbilt like we had to do one a couple years ago, Aaron.
Yeah, that was bad.
If we get some positive history, we also did some emergency stuff when Cal left, when Pope got hired. But if it's Kentucky's going to Omaha, we have to jump on here as quick as possible after the game when our schedule.
It would if they clinch on Sunday night because it'd be like 2 a.m. But maybe if they win in game 3, then
yeah. If they clinch, if they sweep them, it might still be Monday.
It'll be Monday. It won't be 2 a.m. Monday.
No. It'll still be before our normal. Wednesday.
There we go. Yeah, that'll work. Just right after the game. Not happening.
Because everybody got late nights, early mornings, and we in spirit we want to. It just wouldn't be possible. So
no, not happening.
Wouldn't be doable. But appreciate y'all, Aaron Gershon, Jalen Whitlow, all the comments. Everybody that watched and tuned in and follow. Got some new people follow on Twitter and subscribe on YouTube and retweet and all that. So we appreciate y'all sticking with us each and every week. Appreciate bringing y'all the episodes of the podcast. So for Aaron and Jalen, my name is Vinny Hardy. We'll be back next week on an episode of Believe in Kentucky on the Believe Podcast Network. Catch y'all next time.